They have Codeplayer where you can see what has happened. And if you do some external copy paste, then it will get flagged like this in this. Next, they have recently added this multiple monitor detection system, which is basically they want to manage windows on all your displays. Including sections harder in nature will reduce plagiarism, which means questions will be hard because they recommend HRs to take a hard question. I'm clearly audible to all of you, right? And the screen is visible also. Quick +1 from everyone if this is fine. Okay, let's get started then. So I don't need any drawing pad and stuff today. I can just kind of follow with slides. Okay. So mainly what we'll talk about today is how exactly online assessment systems work and how you might be sitting for an online assessment very briefly. And then we'll talk about how does like a little bit of cheating detection systems are built right now on one of the major platforms. Like I think 90% of tests generally happen on HackerRank only, at least in India. So what I've seen is there are many different systems they have built, and I have to, like, we as a student or somebody who is going to sit for the test needs to understand what all things are actually available on the other end. I will show you actual screenshots on how these things look on the recruiter's end. Let's suppose I'm a recruiter, then how will things look like on my end, right? How will I do the shortlist? How will students get flagged as cheating and stuff like that? Okay. So let's look at that, right? So before that, I want to kind of talk about the general system, which is how does online assessments or coding tests in general work, right? So if you apply on campus or on company portal, on LinkedIn, or on referral, on any place, okay, what happens is your CV goes to something called as ATS. What is the full form of ATS? Anybody knows? Applicant tracking system. Okay, it's applicant tracking system. That's basically a way to track all the people who are applying for a job and then send them like resumes. A very good suggestion, terror squad, but I think we'll keep it at applicant tracking system. So now on this tracking system, what happens is they have like your name, your email ID, your resume, and they can send tests, the score of test, your CGPA, your college, your department, everything. And then they write a query. This is the filter. They press and enter and they will get the shortlist. That's how it happens on ATS. Okay? I will not get into ATS because there were already 20 number of ATSs available and I did not know which companies which use what. I can give you names. You can explore on your own. But there are a bunch of ATSs that are available in market, which HRs use in general. Okay. So ATS, when people get in ATS, they can create a group and send a coding test to all of them. They will get a coding test link and on a particular platform, and then they will get back the score and flagged users and stuff like that. And then they can finally do the shortlist, and then interviews and HR, like your resume generally sees HR round and HR's eyes and all those things happens. Okay. Then your CV is something that will get to a human's eye after this process. Okay. This is till this much, nothing happens under a human eye. Everything is automated. People apply to companies, they get an online coding test, they solve it, they get the score. Based on that, they have a minimum criteria. Based on that, they do the selections or the interviews. Okay. So now, based on this, we want to understand how does coding test systems work. Why understanding is important, I think all of you know, everybody knows, right? Why is this important to kind of understand? Because we all need to sit for tests, and I have seen users or students making mistakes which they don't know would actually cause them the actual opportunity, right? So you should know what all things are there and how you can kind of give the test, what are the things available on the other side, so that you can prepare better and give the test in a proper way. Okay. So let's see this recruiter's perspective. I think this is what is more important, because most of you know what is the user's journey, like student's journey, right? They get a user link, give the test and all. But on recruiter's perspective, they have like a bunch of like ATS available. In India, I think a lot of different ones are used, but I'll still say you can use anyone. Then they send a request to a screening platform like HackerRank, HackerEarth, all these kind of platform. These are the group of people. Send them a test link, get their score and send it back to me. That is what happens as a system. Okay? ATS sends the screening platform bunch of list of users ki iske liye test hai, bring them, get the test scores and get me back. So you can configure all of these things on the recruiter side. The screening platform in general, if you search for online assessment platforms for software engineering hiring, you will get bunch of platforms. Metal, Closer IQ, Test Gorilla is also one that is rising very recently. HackerEarth is there. But primarily, I would say that in India, you would see 3 or 4. One is Metal. Primarily, you will get tests on HackerRank. Okay. Next thing that you will see in general is HackerEarth and then Codility. So 1, 2, 3, and then 4th is Metal. Okay. So these are the 4 platforms that you'll be sitting for. And I would highly encourage you guys to go to these sites and give the test. They have some sample test also. You can give those sample tests also so that you get an idea. HirePro, yes, is also an option. Like, I think that's what I said. Like, there are multiple companies that are available. You can go to all of them and give some sample test also to get an idea. Okay. But these are the main things that are used. Okay. So we'll take HackerRank as the case study kind of platform to understand what all systems they have. And I think they have most probably the most sophisticated system. And whatever they build, like in software industry, in a SaaS business, what happens is whenever somebody builds a tool or builds a feature, everybody follows the suit and they also build that same feature, right? So we can assume that most of these features might be available on other sites too. Okay. So in HackerRank, what happens is you will get this kind of an email key, hello, your name from this company, you have a test available, duration is there and it expires at this link, start the test at this window and stuff like that, and you can start the test, right? This is how you get as the mail. And on the user's perspective, I think I'll give you this YouTube link later on, or maybe I think I should give it over here itself. I'll send it on the chat. This is basically a quick recording of somebody giving a test as a sample. If you have never given a test before, you will find this interesting, but these are screenshots from that YouTube video itself. Basically, you get a bunch of questions. You have questions details over here, and then you can code over here itself, and you have Python 3, you can choose language, you can do a bunch of things, right? So watch this particular video, you will get an idea of what is the user's perspective on how does a test happens on these platforms, right? But I think let's move to recruiter's perspective, because that's what we all are here for, right? Anybody interested more on the user side? So they can ask me any question, or else we'll move to the recruiter's side next. Any questions for me? Just give me one quick sec. Should we move to the the recruiter's side? Chalo, let's talk about the recruiter's perspective, because that's what people don't know about, right? Can we print to debug? Depends on the problem. Depends on the setting. Most probably no. You can print only the outputs of certain types of questions. Like, it's very similar to what lead code sometimes have. Some questions are designed in a way that you can write the full code, which is very similar to what Algozenith has. There are some platforms that has only class-based solutions, so you can only return one value, so that is only printed. So you have to manage all these things, but mostly it's very similar to the general platforms that you will be practicing on. Okay. So let's move to recruiter's perspective, right? So this is how it looks on somebody who is a hirer on the HackerRank side, like somebody creating as a company's representative on HackerRank. So they will get bunch of tools to manage candidates, tests. They can manage bunch of tests. They will have list of tests, and let's suppose we are talking about one particular test only. They can also take interviews, but interviews, many tools exist, and I don't think everybody uses CodePair, though we'll talk about it very briefly. They have libraries, so based on bunch of purchases that the company do. So companies go to HackerRank and buy their full package. So they have multiple tiers. Based on whichever tier they buy, they get library of questions, they get some features on the test platform. This is a very usual model for any SaaS business, right? If you ever go into building a software product, you might have seen, right? Even Slack, we are using Slack. Slack has multiple paid features, and you have you can go into that tier, right? Similar to freemium kind of system. So this is also very similar to that. It's a SaaS business for HackerRank. So they have tests in that they can see all the candidates and they see ki, acha, these candidates are in this phase right now. These are to be evaluated and you will have to send the link and stuff like that, right? So these kind of things they track over here. So when you go to a particular candidate, like they track every candidate, ki uska kya hua abhi tak, right? They track that. So if you go to one particular candidate, they see what score you have made, some suspicious activity that you might have made on the problem, their feedback and stuff. They have every problem tagged with certain skills. Ki this problem reads you, this is the skill. So when you solve a certain problem, you get these tags, scores and stuff, which I feel is not much relevant. I mean, I've never seen anybody using these kind of things. So what will somebody do with based on this, right? But mainly you get 3 problems, the scores of those problems, and then you use that to filter. Okay. The recruiters also get, we'll come to that. What is suspicious activity? We'll come to that. The recruiters also get the timeline, the timeline for a particular test attempt, that you were viewed questions list, then during this time you were solving question 1, then during this time you were solving question 2, then you were offline or the server didn't get a ping from your computer, then you were on question 2, question 3, question 4, and this is how they get a picture ki, acha, this is how the user attempted that question, or which question you were currently on. Okay, so your client as a browser sends the ping back to the server and they build this list. Okay, so this is how you have as a timeline of activities available on recruiters end. Okay, when a student submits, then you get a sample report like this too, that hey, this was the first question, the solution that he has written, the test cases that it has passed and stuff like that. Okay, so these are their sample cases, hidden cases, what has passed and all, and what was the solution of the student candidates for this problem. Okay, it's a very easy problem. The problem is not relevant. Okay, any problem. Okay? They get the solution code and they get this. Okay, they get flag ki needs review, ki this problem had some suspicious activity. We'll talk about this, but then the user coded this and bunch of things like this. Okay, MCQ is very similar this way, right? And I don't think somebody opens these all. They never see this, but mainly what they go through is this part. Okay, what is the score and whether they have been flagged or not, right? So this is all of these screens that I'm showing you is actually from the support material. So HackerRank has a support doc. I will give you the link. If you want to explore, you can explore more. HackerRank has a support doc which helps the HRs to prepare and use all these configurations. Okay? So this is like a training to HRs. I have based these slides based on all those material publicly available. So all of these are on the legal side. Okay. Now, proctoring settings that are available on this is you have copy paste tracking. I mean, if you paste something on HackerRank, you will get a flag key. Do you want to paste this and stuff? And there is a very interesting prompt that I looked over here. Show the prompt to the candidate, and what they have written over here is enabling this will alert the candidate if they try to copy paste. We recommend to keep this off to catch genuinely cheating candidates. Do you understand what does this mean? What HackerRank is saying is don't show any markers to the candidate ki we are tracking copy pasting, but you will get flagged automatically. Okay? So this is something to keep in mind. We'll kind of talk about all of these things in details, but I can't copy paste after my writing. No. So when you copy paste, you can copy paste from inside to inside, but not from outside. Okay? Okay. So next is trap proctoring. So they basically track if you have moved out of tab or not. Okay. Then they have photo identification system. They have image proctoring system, and they have more. Okay. So when you go out of your screen, they split tabs and stuff. They try to detect. I'll show you everything. Don't worry. We'll come one by one. I will show you everything. How does everything looks? Okay. I've prepared this slide. It has taken me 1 day to prepare all of this research. Okay. So let's come to this. So when you paste something outside from, so they show this, the hiring team does not want to copy paste code from another source. They would be notified. This is if you turn that reminder option. If you don't, then they will just allow and you will get flagged. Okay. And when these things happen in a mass system, like in a campus, nobody is going to go through the cases one by one and see if it's genuine or not. Okay. So we need to be prepared that we don't get flagged. That's it. Okay. Not from Sublime to HackerRank. copy somewhere else, paste it somewhere else. So if you copy, right, so you get the source as well in the clipboard when you copy that out, right? When you paste it, so you can paste it out from there itself. It can be directed basically. Okay. So we notice that you moved out of this. So if you change the tab, you will see that you will get this kind of a screen. Okay. So on their end, there is also a log wherein you can see ki, acha, there was a ping to server, went invisible, switched tabs and stuff like that. They can see all of these things. So they have this camera-based detection system, which is also very interesting. I found this like very interesting because I think it's important to know about this. Number one is image analysis. I think they keep taking pictures periodically. One important thing that I've noticed is that it always takes it at intervals of 1 minute. Like they don't take it between 1 minute. So I'm not sure if you can do anything in between that or not. Okay, like 0 to 1. But they have periodic 1 minute kind of pictures of you on the test. It might start at random time, but in between, I think they don't have, right? So they have systems where you detect no faces, right? When somebody is not there. Next is secondary faces, like you have detected somebody who is not you actually, like multiple faces kind of detection, multiple faces in the same screen. And you have like, see, 1, 2, 3, 4, all images are available. Okay. Moodle is out of like business for competitive exams, right? They are never used. They're only used in companies test. Okay. Acha, ruk jao. Okay, just a sec. So now we talked about camera-based detection, right? This is available. Okay. I don't know where it will be uploaded. This is only for this session for now. I might upload, might not. Okay. So they have watermarking also. I think if this is pretty much visible if you are solving the problem, that when you are like, what they have realized is a lot of people take photos and upload it somewhere or give it to their friends and stuff. So what they have started is adding a watermark. This is a last 2 months update that they might be selling right now, that they have watermarks on the problem and you can actually like detect whose test it was, whose screenshot got leaked out, right? So that they can bar off them later on, or maybe sue them. I don't know. Okay. But then in older tests, I've not seen this being available because I've seen a lot of screenshots here and there. It's not available in general cases. Okay. So what happens is when you like kind of do any of these suspected activities in your test attempt details for a particular problem, it will show that there was some plagiarism detected. Plagiarism means your code was copied. So they detect plagiarism from inside the test or outside the test. So basically, number one, if you get somebody else's test question and copied it from there, you both have the same thing, then they get detected in the test, in the same test. Outside the test means if this problem was available in outside places, and maybe I don't know how it runs, but I can think about it in a way that maybe all possible submissions on HackerRank that has ever been made, okay, all public repo of all codes, okay. So if you are like matching with any one of them, it tries to match your code. And for that, they use MOS for now. I mean, they have MOS and an AI system, both of them. I'll talk about this. They have added AI last 2 months back. Okay. So camera की permission ना दो तो तुम ऐसे ही filter out हो जाओगे क्योंकि you will be flagged कि you didn't give the camera permission. ठीक है, most probably. So yes, HackerRank is a police business. Like I think that's the police business, right? Okay. So you will be ran across with multiple codes, and somebody else's code versus your code it will run, and if it's exactly similar, then it will be marked as like plagiarism. Okay. So if everybody uses AZ forms, then they will be followed. No, if they use the same code, then they might get flagged, but I don't think so in general. Like everybody writes a little differently only. I don't think everybody writes similar code. Sharing screen check kar paate. We'll come to that. making life tough. Too many checks. Yeah. As long as you want to cheat, yes, life is tough. Okay. So when you make the code, they have two options. One is something called as code replay. Okay, they have a code replay where you can see every keystroke that has ever happened during that time, like every way you have written except that time duration. They have the code replay. How did you write the code? Like you wrote something, then you deleted, then you wrote, then you deleted, and stuff. Like every keystroke gets logged, and then they build a whole situation out of that. Okay, number one. Number two, inside the test, that it matched with these candidates who gave the test on these dates. Outside the test also, like if it matched somewhere, they will get. Okay, they have CodePlayer where you can see what has happened, and if you do some external copy paste, then it will get flagged like this in this. Okay, do they even see this? I think no, not all of them. Like code replay nobody sees, but plagiarism detection and the marking scheme automatically comes into action, so they have that automated. Can they detect copy paste without clipboard access? I think the way they do that is whatever you pasted, like if you paste something, that can be detected. Whatever you pasted is already present in the code because they already have the code before that, so they can match it, right? Whether in that editor itself, if you do a copy, the content that you copy is known, like, and then outside that, when you paste it back, you know whether you pasted the same content or not. So they can detect that even if you don't have the full clipboard access. Okay. Yeah, that's why I think so this is all inspired from a student coming to me and asking ki I'm doing everything correct, why am I getting filtered out? That's why I kind of did this all. Okay, chalo, let's do this code replay, right? So they can replay your code and stuff. I don't know if they see that, but it's basically the last check to see if someone was genuinely doing cheating or not. So how did they decide ki acha kitna check is hard, kitna check is there, right? So basically what they do is the system automatically generates a submission score, okay? And they generate certain types of marks, like ye banda kitna cheating kar raha hai, and they have like a suspicion score. And basically what they suggest is like if you are fine with moving ahead with candidates flagged for reasonable suspicions and you do not have enough candidates, use the attempted activities service column as filtered to candidate appropriately. Isme karne bolte hain. Or else if you are concerned with only high suspicious candidates, use the attempt activities severity column and filter out candidates marked at high. So what they suggest is they want you to filter all of these things that they get marked. ठीक है, मतलब उसमें जो score आता है, they filter them based on that. खत्म. ठीक है. Now they have very recently included AI cheating detection. Basically, since ChatGPT is there, now people can generate code, and they can paste the question, generate the code, and then they can try to ask you for, can you provide unique approach? Can you solve the same question in a remote language which is not used too much? Or can you use Python solution which is very, very long, something like that, right? So what they claim is they can actually detect all of these things, right? What they do is they detect all of these things. They claim that at least they have AI-powered plagiarism detection solution that captures all of these things, and they score them at least 9, which is considered very high. Like we already saw, right, that they reject high and stuff. So therefore, this is their support language. Like this is from their doc itself. I've made this slide all of them from the docs only. Okay, so you can read this later on too. I'll give you the link. This link is publicly available, so you can read it, of course, right? So they have said that they can actually detect this. Okay. Split screen is 2 windows, right? So window level and screen level they can detect. Let's come to that. Okay. Let's come to multiple screen detection. Okay. They have added monitor detection as well, by the way. Chalo, let's see that. Okay. So AI GPT generated things not detected. Next, they have recently added this multiple monitor detection system, which is basically they want to manage windows on all your displays. That is what kind of comes up as a prompt. If you allow that, I think best way to mitigate this is like you should have this disabled for everybody by default, and then it will show and you know that it's tracking. Okay. If they turn on multiple monitor detection, they will detect ki acha you have multiple monitors, and the way it works is it detected 3 monitors, and then if you suddenly increase a monitor even between the tests, it will flag you ki you have increased the number of monitors from 3 to 4, something like this, right? So you need to, they will track every monitor, and then if you increase something in between the tests, then they will flag it ki acha there was a new monitor added in between tests. Okay, something like that. Okay, so now let's kind of look at their final like review. So this is HackerRank telling HRs how should they prepare tests, number one, for plagiarism detection, number two, how should they like finally filter after the test. Okay, if it is Sublime, then yes, like it will have all Chrome windows detected and multiple full screen recording basically, if you give them the permission. Okay, obviously Sublime will be detected अगर तुम use कर रहे हो तो. Okay, so what this suggests is include sections harder in nature will reduce plagiarism. Shivam, I'll take these questions at the end. Okay, it's actually very good. We'll think about it. What are the permissions needed and stuff. But abhi ke liye, let's kind of complete the slides and then I will take things. Okay. Do you understand this first statement? Including sections harder in nature will reduce plagiarism, which means questions will be hard because they recommend HRs to take a hard question. समझ में आ गया क्यों hard आ रहा है आजकल? Because HackerRank is recommending HRs to take harder questions for this. Exactly, that's what they want. They don't want everybody to solve, and then only people who can solve. Right? And then they select any hard question from the library that they have. That's the problem. Okay, next, I think I've highlighted the interesting portion. You can read all of it, but what they do is they have a like repo of test. You can clone it and change it and then use it in the next test. Okay, so cloning and modifying text by they suggest to change test cases and change the problem statement, like change the wordings of the problem statement, so that candidates who copy paste standard answers from web cannot acquire high since their code didn't pass the new modified test cases. Or you can actually edit the test cases, but nobody, I think, does that. Though modifications on problem statement along with adding scenarios into solution, the problem will not be found easily on internet. That's very obvious, right? The fourth point is also important. For context, some companies, so it's recommended to have smaller time. I also agree with this. It should be there कि भाई 3 घंटे का test है तो it should be 3.5 hours as a window, because नहीं तो फिर somebody completes the test, then gives the questions to a friend, they prepare, and then the next person starts his attempt, right? That's very obvious way to cheat. And if any company is allowing that, then I mean that company is super bogus on like plagiarism detection. Okay. But anyways, we are no person to judge. We are just over here to understand the system. Okay. So for context, some companies like have seen a lot of these things and they suggest 30 minutes. Okay. Why? That's what I was talking to. But okay. Okay. Next, copy-based proctoring. I mean, obviously they say that all these things we have already discussed. Okay. They suggest that use sections while creating test and add randomization by allowing system to pick different set of questions for each candidate. They suggest to use randomization of questions, which means they want you to create sets of questions and then basically question pool, and then select questions out of that and enable several options, because another level of randomization of ordering of questions. That is bogus. The question title they hide sometimes because they don't want people to kind of see the question's title, and sometimes titles are searchable. Okay. Before taking the live test, ensure that none of the tests are leaked. If any questions are leaked, it is recommended to remove and replace the leaked test. Okay, but it's very difficult to find a leaked test for even the HRs or company. Okay, you can read more if you want, but I don't care about that too much. Post assessment, this is important. Okay, this is important. How after the test they want you to filter. This is so these are all recommendations by HackerRank. I don't know what companies are using, but this is recommendation of HackerRank. So we can trust that somebody is using these kind of things. Okay. So this is basically sliding window. What they suggest is sliding scale based on difficulty of level. Okay. How much of percentage of code can be matched. If it's an easy question, then 90% of code. If more than 90% matches, then it's a plagiarism. Okay. If it's a medium question, then 80% or it's 85%. Hard questions, 75%. If more than 75% matches, then it's a plagiarism. Okay. So that is something that happens. Okay. At internal end. So they are using MOS MOS and AI based, both of them. Use this. Next is copy paste activity. If we split screen, yes, two browsers, one by one, they capture window. So yes, they will take that permission most probably. Let's come back. So this is again the main line. Please keep this in mind. Even if it doesn't give you prompt, please don't copy paste anything. Okay? Copy pasting is of the options for sure. Okay? Because they can detect that. I think no, they cannot detect very easily any other screen shares by default. Matlab, if you're sharing your screen on other things, it's very difficult to capture that, I think. But then they will detect the changes in the window and stuff. I am not sure how exactly they'll do that. Okay. HackerRank has observed that for plagiarism cases, median value of out of window duration window is 65 seconds, and median value for number of window exits is 1. So basically, if somebody is outside, so if somebody is out of the tab for more than 65 seconds and the number of window exits is more than 1, then they recommend them to flag as suspicious. Okay. So you can, something can happen once and you can get off the window, galti se chale gaye, galti se out of the tab and stuff, right? And maybe your internet is down for more than 1 second, 1 minute, a little more than 1 minute. So it's fine, but uske baad they flag you. Okay, that's important. Finally, like how do, like if everybody, let's suppose there is a campus where you go and everybody is flagged as plagiarism. So how should you pick people out of that? That's what they suggest. So they say that manual reviews is highly recommended. They say that replay the code and and see what exactly is happening in the code place, and see if you think it's a code or not. Copy paste indicator. I think that's a very obvious thing. कि अगर copy paste करे तो cheating ही है, right? And then finally, available on summary timeline. Like see that if the time taken by questions are like fine. मतलब अगर कुछ ज़्यादा ही कम लग गया और कुछ ज़्यादा ही ज़्यादा लग गया तो then it's a problematic thing. So I sometimes feel this might be a problem to very good coders too. That बहुत जल्दी भी कर दिया and everybody is taking time, so it's a bad thing maybe. Okay. So what I would suggest is maybe thinking around the questions a little bit. If you are super good, matlab, if you are somebody who is like pretty good at coding and you can solve a problem in 2 minutes, then don't solve. मुझे ऐसा लगता है. It's my personal recommendation. ठीक है. Move around questions, spend time, solve the problems with time. ठीक है. आराम से करो. So that's there. Question being insights. Simple rule of thumb: don't cheat if possible, right? If you're somebody who cannot get past through cheating, then I don't know. But don't cheat if possible, right? Obviously. They also have a CodePair tool, which is basically what is suggested for like interviews, that you will see a question like this, you will have a coding screen, and the admin or whoever is taking the test can run inputs and see the output of your code. Okay? So if you think कि मेरा code चला नहीं चला, you don't know that, but they can run it on their end. Okay. So you will be able to see that, and you can see the window of video and stuff as well. So if they use CodePair, then this will be the screen. Very similar tools also exist outside. Okay. And I think something like that might be used even in your mocks on AZ if you are using that. Okay. But this is pretty much it about as an analysis of quote unquote HackerRank screen platform, right? How does that work? And I hope कि कुछ तो idea लगा होगा कि what all things are existing in their system. ठीक है. So that will be it for this particular video, right? And that will be all for at least the recording. See you all in the next one. Bye-bye.